Hey everybody, I've been talking to you a little while now about a replacement for the rear trailing arm bushings that is cutting down on the cost that it costs to replace these bushings, and also, in my opinion, makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go over that today. The first thing you're going to need are the Energy Suspensions Kit 3.2125G. Now, each kit comes with what you see here. It comes with 4 bushing inserts and 2, center shafts. These are, I think, marketed for like a 1980 Chevy C10 rear spring shackle bushing. They are very, very close to what you need. So I'm going to go over what modifications you need to do to these to make them fit. You're also going to need 9/16 bolts. The original bolts in the Cadillac are 1/2-inch bolts, so you're going to need to upsize them to 9/16. That's because the center bushing in here is 9/16. It's not 1/2-inch, so you want to get rid of that play. Each bolt is 5 inches long. I would suggest getting grade 8, easy to get at any hardware store. And then lastly, you're going to need your trailing arms. Now, the modification to the trailing arm is quite easy. The original bushing gets removed. I removed them using heat. I'm not going to go over the exact method because some people would probably disagree with it. But anyways, you get out the rubber insert. You leave the steel sleeve. Notice this is the original steel sleeve. That's what I want to leave there. Now, once you get the rubber out, the one end of the steel sleeve is chamfered down just a little bit. You've got the end with the flare on it. On the opposite end, once you get the rubber out, you'll notice it kind of narrows down ever so slightly. Now, you can use a pair of channel lock pliers or a hammer and a screwdriver. I used an air hammer and just rotate it around, and you just flare that back out. It doesn't matter necessarily how far you flare that out because you still got lots of straight meat inside. But just flare it out beyond, or at least straight. Now you're ready to go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is talk about the measurements of this bushing. So this is the bushing as it comes from the factory. And you'll notice it is ever so slightly too long. So what we got to do is we got to shave this down, and then we also have to shave the bushings down, the polyurethane side of it, and those will get to fit. The last thing that we have to do is drill out the holes in the brackets to 9/16. We'll also go over that. All right, let's get started. All right, so if you measure the gap in the trailing arm brackets on the car and on the rear axle, you end up measuring right around 2.93 to 2.95. It varies a little bit from bracket to bracket. So what we want to do is make sure that our bushings match that, minus a little bit. So I'm going to use my angle grinder with a little sanding pad on it, just to be able to remove just a little bit at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and get a pre-measurement here. These pressed in really easy. All you do is grease them up a little bit. Grease the inside of the shaft, grease the outside of the bushing. I just use my vise, press them in there, no problem. So my pre-measurement here is 3.03. So you can see I'm not taking off very much at all. So let's just shave off a little bit here. All right, where are we at? 3.015. So I got about 15 thou off that time. A little bit more, and then I'm going to flip it over, take a little bit off the other side as well so I can kind of make it even. And so we're 2.99. I'm going to try to get it down to about 2.9. That way it gives me clearance to put everything in. So the other thing you want to do is, if you're freehanding this, you want to just keep an eye on the evenness of your sanding. Freehanding can, be very difficult at times. I was going to try to use like a wood lathe or something like that. I do not have one, so I did not use a wood lathe. And so right here, I'm at about 2.91 at the tallest. 2.9 in other places. So let me go try this real quick on the axle over here. See how it fits. And it slides in just absolutely perfect. And so that's exactly what you want. You want to be able to slide it in just easy. We're going to go ahead and grease all this stuff when we install it. Polyurethane has a habit of squeaking. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert this central shaft or central bushing. Now that's exactly what I expected. I'm expecting this bushing to be a little bit long, right? Because that's exactly what it was earlier. So we're going to go ahead and sand that down and use the same pad. Now all I'm doing is sanding it down until it's flush. I'm not trying to go further than that. And so there we go. Let me go ahead and give it a test fit over here. Now we're a little tight, and that's kind of what I expected. Once I put that central bushing in, it's hard to see from that angle. Get the camera focused. You can see it kind of bubbled the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can sand that flat. You can see it did it on both sides. So if you're doing this the same way that I am, learn from my mistakes. Go ahead and push that center bushing in before you start sanding and measuring, because now it seems like I'm almost doing twice the work. Alright, and that goes in nice and smooth. So we have it here. Nice polyurethane bushing, both sides. And that's going to last for far longer than those rubber bushings the car comes with, which those lasted a long time to begin with. So that's all there is to that. Now, when you put it in, I'm just going to put in with the grade 8 bolts. Washer on one side, washer on the other side, lock, washer, and nut. I would have preferred nylocks. My hardware store didn't have nylocks in stock. So that's the way it's going to be. And there you go. So the last thing we got to do is drill out the bushings over there, or the brackets over there. And we'll go over that real quick. And then you just assemble it all. All right, let's go check that out. All right, so now we just have to drill out the bracket. So I've got just a regular drill, 9/16 drill bit. I would suggest using one of these because once you get to the car side brackets, the frame side, there's some areas where it gets really tight, and using like a unibit or something like that would be very hard to use. So that's why I went with this. Local hardware store had it in stock. Now, if you've never drilled out steel before, something to remember is that slower is better. You get this drill bit hot, it'll dull the drill bit, and then you're game over. You're going through drill bits like crazy and you can't figure out why. So take it nice and slow, get a firm hand on the drill, and just let her rip. There we go. All done. Now all we gotta do is assemble the car. Thanks for watching.